I like the deck. And Zalae took out his worst matchup for Temple Mage with Soul Demon Hunter. So we'll see if he can get a win with that.
Yeah, I think that the Soul Demon Hunter does end up being a force to be reckoned with from Rami's side. So I think it's a safe ban. We'll see. I personally would also been okay with Warrior and had a no Warrior in this entire lineup, but we'll see. As Temple Mage has sort of been falling a little bit in that stock, TJ stocks market. Going to game number 1, we have the Warrior versus that Mage. Mage is on the coin, which is already a good start for Zalae. Has a pretty eclectic opening here. You know, I think a lot of players might be like stuck on this mulligan screen from Zalae and think about all the possibilities. Arcane Breath is a lot weaker without a dragon, so I don't know if I want to hold on to that. But every other card here, TJ, you might be able to convince me that holding on to it's okay.
Yeah.
Although I'm not sure if it's like the best, right? Like, because you want to be looking for power cards as opposed to holding okay cards.
Yeah, that's honestly kind of the trap of the Temple Mage, Small Spell Mage, however you want to call it, is a lot of its cards are pretty close in win rate when kept in the mulligan. Because a lot of the things in the deck do the same. Oh, wow, he throws away 2 and gets the Sorcerer's Apprentice Mana Cycle.
Sure.
So that's exactly what you mentioned. Is those cards in his mulligan were serviceable, but you're looking for those power cards, and Sorcerer's Apprentice Mana Cyclone are the power pair in most matchups. So nice mulligan there from Zalae, understanding that while Memorial Studies is still a great card, Arcane Breath's still a great card, and he gets them both. What the? You got them both back.
Okay.
Both the cards that he threw were on the put on the top of his deck. we're already off to like weird things happening.
It seems like that's kind of been the MO of some of Zalae's series here, right? Just some unusual stuff happening, but it definitely sets up for some entertaining scenarios here where, like, how does Zalae find a way to make use of these spells that don't exactly have a strong connection of him? Like, if his normal game plan, he has card draw, but he chooses the arcane missiles instead. All right.
I mean, his game plan here seems to be pick the cheap stuff and go off with Sorcerer's Apprentice Mana Cyclone. With his Spellwing dice, he has 2 arcane missiles. Ray of Frost too. Oh boy, he's got the makings of quite the Mana Cyclone hand.
Just needs to find Mana Cyclone, right? That's kind of the reason why I was liking the Cram session, but of course, he has the Mana Cyclone already, so he can just go for it right now. And with all these resources being dumped, he is totally open to refilling his hand and now kind of throwing such a big wrench. Oh my gosh. So much damage being generated. As Zalae has a full hand, I believe, now. Almost full hand. Oh, for some reason, I thought he had another spell being played.
He didn't want to kill his own. He couldn't play the Arcane Breath.
Right.
Like, he had to decide between that and like the second Ray of Frost, I suppose. But oh wow, okay, well, Shinvala would have been nice if he had known he might be able to hold on to it. So I guess Calicos just have like this big late game threat that might be that could act as a finisher.
Right. That's Pyroblast, you know?
Yeah. Unfortunately, everything that Zalae got is pretty reactive. Probably more of Combustion, Brain Freeze. Also, like the Dragon for Arcane, or like Calicos being a Dragon for Arcane Breath is good. So need to find something proactive.
Makes sense to me. I mean,
Arcane Breath.
Dragons are now I mean, he has two spells that he can get off the Arcane Breath, but he does have to target his enemy minions and want to target his own. Draconic is reasonable. Mirrenity is interesting because it kind of messes with Rami's like Dr. Krasnov turn and maybe get damage going the other direction.
Yeah.
What to do? What to do?
Spellbender is interesting as well. blocks Coerce. There's only one copy. It blocks Shield Slam. It's like a very... It's a secret that's going to do a very specific thing in this matchup. Which honestly, a secret that has that type of value where you know it's going to do a very specific thing. It has a lot of value because you can kind of play around when your opponent is likely to play into the secret, right?
Right.
So that's why I like the Spellbender there. He's not going to Shield Slam this. He's not going to Coerce this. So you feel confident that it's going to stick around. And then when you do play a big threat, you'll know that it's protected in some way. Like right now, he could just feel free to play the Violet Ward and feel confident that Rami would have to use maybe even multiple things to test for these different secrets. And maybe he tests wrong, and all of a sudden you get a pretty significant advantage in the game. So that's the test for Counterspell. Not there. So he can feel free to Blade Storm this.
Right. I guess just swing. Sure. Maybe even just start to hero power to keep your life total a little bit in check. The cutting class isn't super important right now. His hand's already almost full, and he has pretty good opportunity to respond to threats if his opponent just explodes onto the board with mana giants.
You don't pick the ones.
I guess the issue is that he doesn't have an answer to one mana giant, like if it was just the only minion on the board.
Yeah. You can play a minion and brawl. Ancient Mystery is just spending the mana to dump it from hand, because obviously mana giants cost, as well as just having more space for this evocation, makes a lot of sense. Not really like a huge play he could do there, especially since his mana and hand space were incredibly limited that turn, if he wanted to try and go for some sort of evocation. But this is where the kind of power of the risky skipper version of the Bomb Warrior, which has been a less popular choice, this is where it becomes super impactful. He's going to be able to get a ton of armor. It goes all the way back up to 24 health.
Yeah, this is huge.
And these are not easy to deal with, honestly, these armor smiths. He can, at least while getting rid of a lot of the armor, he can Arcane Breath one, Brain Freeze the other, but that's still resources used and armor gain for Rami, and a delayed game plan for Zalae.
Yeah, this is looking pretty nice for Rami as a rebound, but at the same time, we know that Mage is far from done this game. A lot of powerful resources they can generate. Finds Cram Session, Ray of Frost, and Spellbender. Already knows that Spellbender not eligible for choice here. Ray of Frost is one of the better tempo tools that you can have. Cram Session just helps you improve the quality of your hand by drawing deeper into your deck right now, which he probably has to think about at the moment.
Yeah, honestly, as with even though the Crim Session is only one card, I feel like he just does need a little bit of something extra going on with his hand, because he just doesn't have the tools to win the game at the moment. All right, Ashman's Solarian. Solarian Prime is always a win condition, as far as I'm concerned.
It is the win condition, DJ. Very often, as Solarian Prime does end up becoming the card that you really want to look for in the Hail Mary scenarios. Now, football is back, TJ. Fourth quarter Hail Mary. Sometimes you just got to go for it, and Solarian Prime is like Tom Brady. When he was probably still on the Patriots, but...
And you can even have... It's better than football because you can even have multiple Tom Bradys.
That's right. You just keep having Tom Brady that discovers Tom Brady.
Yeah, you can stack your bench with Tom Brady's. That if your first Tom Brady doesn't quite get there with his Hail Mary, you substitute him.
Right.
Get a nice.
You got more
one
Bradys.
Who's well rested.
We got the Brady bunch. Rami shuffles yet another bomb into the deck. That's not the collection of cards that you want shuffled in here when you have a bunch of card draw. Finds the Mana Giant. So, Combustion is pretty good. Does have the ability to dig first for spells with Cobalt Spellkin. Another Arcane Breath.
That's a lot of
that's
discovery.
just a lot of spell generation off of that in the future. Tempo good.
Tempo good.
Spellbender finally activates. Ha! You fool,
Gotcha.
Rami. You activated my trap card.
Big gotcha moment there.
That's right. Requires him to slam twice.
Yeah. That's the 4th bomb in the deck, I do believe, so starting to get to that critical mass. Also, Blastmaster Boom hitting the board, which means Zalae is very likely dead over the course of the next couple turns.
Unless he can generate free spells and draw his Solarian Prime. Draw Tom Brady.
You could like devolving or
What to do?
Shenvala devolving missiles. Nah, you can't do that. I don't know. I was thinking
about
put a bunch of health on the board to try and.
Yeah, it's not entirely unreasonable because I've used devolving missiles a handful of times against like Face Hunter when they play toxic reinforcements and then ends up like negating their damage. I kind of see Boombots similarly to that, but I mean this Raz Frost Whisper is gonna hopefully absorb a ton of the damage. Okay, all things considering, it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, I'm taking a kill on my Raz over a kill on me any day of the week. Problem is, like, Zalae just has no way to block anything that's about to happen to him. He has
Loot? What more can I ask
4 bombs
for?
in the deck. Going to be more after this turn. Horde Pillager could have gotten Anchor, I believe. Played that early on in this game. But now Zalae's on a 2-bomb outer. 1 bomb would likely be enough as well, since Rami has a weapon swing. 5 bombs in the deck. Another Astromancer Solarian, though. I mean, if Zalae can dodge bombs for a while and pick up Solarian Prime before he draws enough bombs,
What to do?
I don't know.
What to
That's
do?
gonna be tough.
Is it cold in here?
I mean, the Solarian Prime doesn't seem super reliable, but sometimes you don't have a choice for it. I don't think we're at that stage right now because I think Zalae has to deal with the pressing issue that he might die.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, like, in
Just
a
to,
desperate situation, like, as he's dodging bombs, his last dying breath is Solarian Prime and hope for 3 Power Blasts to the face.
Sure, I think he's looking for, like, Ice Barrier at this point.
Runs out on me.
Yeah. Mirror image? Okay, that works. Unfortunately, Brawl is going to probably put a stop to this.
What about Conjurer's Calling here, TJ?
Yeah.
Okay, so Zalae goes for the guarantee. And at least force him to have the Brawl. Reasonable.
Yeah. Decides not to go for elemental allies. I don't think it matters too much in this situation because he does have 2 elementals left in his deck, but honestly, I don't even know if he wants to draw 3 spells from his deck because that could just kill him.
Draw 3 bombs from your deck? Sounds good to me. Rami able to get that next bomb shuffled in. Zalae's on a draw to lose here. Tons of bombs shuffled in.
Dodges it again.
Caligos gets
Okay, a
Hexus Blast, and that's death. As Rami does have the Wrench Caliber in hand, there's nothing really he can do about it. That's going to do it here. So Rami's Bomb Warrior, once again, showing why Warrior might be a contention back into that permaban status. A lot of people are banning that Warrior. We talked about it right before this game started, TJ, that I think I like banning Warrior a little bit more than Demon Hunter. But hey, if you feel like Demon Hunter's going to get a win, Warrior gets played, Warrior gets to win. I mean, it feels like an expected result anyways. I just think Zalae was probably hoping that he would do a little bit better there with the Mage. But Mage does sometimes struggle against that Warrior for that reason.
Yeah. I have been liking that matchup more and more from the Mage's side, but I still don't think it's a great matchup, by any means. I think that the matchup is better against the non-risky skipper version of the deck because sometimes you force out big removal spells on like a small board of Sorcerer's Apprentice, whereas you could see Rami was able to just go risky skipper, Armorsmith to deal with a small board, and then had shield slams and coerce and whatnot to deal with some of the bigger stuff that happened. He just had checks for everything, so that makes it a little bit tougher. But overall, yeah, I think, as you mentioned, whether you leave up Demon Hunter or Warrior, I think both those decks, if they were queued in game one, which they likely would have been, are going to get a win against the Temple Mage regardless. I don't think that's what Zalae's game plan is focused on, so I don't think he's too worried about that win in game one.
All right, well, that leads us to our next intermission, as we'll see if game number 2, Zalae can turn around or Rami's going to cement that lead. You're watching Hearthstone Grandmasters. We'll be back in just a few.
Hearthstone Grandmasters is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network. T-Mobile.
I'm Bunny Hopper,
I'm Language Hacker.
and we're here to do some trivia.
I think it's no doubt we're gonna take this down, no matter who our opponent is. I think we'll get them all right.
I think that's
Easily.
a 10 out of 10.
It's our time to shine. This is a day of relegation, boys. 256, right?
I have no idea how many bones there are in the human body.
Like above 200.
Is there a way to estimate this properly?
Sure, one.
206 for sure. I'm positive it's 206.
Let's go with 256 then.
Okay.
I trust you.
I have no idea, but I think that's...
206. Final answer.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure on that
Yeah,
one as well,
same.
actually.
You're positive?
Positive. 206.
256 final answer.
It's 200.
Ah.
That's actually difficult.
Definitely not ostrich.
The falcon has to be fast, like it's a bird.
It's up to you. I would say cheetah.
I know cheetah's the fastest land animal in the world.
Do we know if it's a windy day out or no?
A bird has to be faster than like a ground animal, right?
Let's go with the falcon.
Yeah.
Easy.
Let's go with the Falcon. Nice.
I would pick the falcon.
Okay.
We say B. Final answer. Yeah.
That's correct.
See, we get this.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be a week, right? It should be something else.
I don't know what Fortnite is other than the game.
Let's just take a guess.
14.
That's
Final
14.
answer.
It's 14. It's 14.
Okay. Let's just go with him.
14, right? It sounds like Fortnite. 14.
Yeah, let's go with 14.
Definitely 14.
Okay, let's go with 14.
14? Yeah.
Yeah.
14. That's correct.
Yeah. See?
Has to be blue, right?
Yeah, I had blue. What does red hair
I think
exactly
it's
mean?
I think it's brown.
I would say it's brown because I know a lot with green eyes.
Lighter colored eyes.
Yeah.
Those genes might be mixed.
And do you see many redheads with blue eyes?
No.
I believe it's blue.
Brown.
Yeah.
Brown.
So we take A? So that's
Yeah, blue.
Yeah, I think it's blue as well.
Let's go with blue.
Yeah, let's take brown.
That's it.
Yeah. It's blue.
Yeah.
Blue is like the rarest in general. Unless you're Swedish.
I have absolutely no idea.
I have some idea.
When was the first BC?
Well, why don't you think it's 1994?
I'm pretty positive it's 1996.
That was the year I was born.
That was the year you were born? 1997 for me.
Let's Google.
Let's Google it.
Yeah, we were using like telecom or AOL web search.
It would
instead.
have to have been later on, so I'm leaning towards 98, but
Alright.
that might be.
This one might be vital, you know. For
Well,
us
of
to
course,
take
every
the
single one is
victory.
vital. Yeah. This is a 1 and 2, dude. We got the rag flip right now.
We go with 94. B, I think 94 was, right?
94.
Yeah, let's go with 94.
94, yeah.
What? Really?
96.
96.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, damn. Okay.
You can try 98. Let's try 98.
98.
I feel like England is like very old school in most ways. So I'm not so sure. Oh, was it? It was not New Zealand, right?
I have no idea.
What if you just take New Zealand?
Why?
I have no idea.
I wouldn't think it would be the US.
Yeah, I would doubt that.
It honestly might be United
Well,
States.
now we have to actually like kind of go in the mind of the person who made this because he was the one that made this this question. So
Let's just take A.
Which is what?
I have no idea.
I would say New Zealand, but
I would lean towards England, but I don't know.
I would lean towards New Zealand.
What if you just take New Zealand because it's new?
We can go New Zealand, I don't know.
USA.
see. Damn.
So it's New Zealand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Final answer.
I would lean towards England, but New Zealand also sounds.
I would
They
lean
sound
towards New
progressive.
Zealand. You want to flip a coin?
Let's flip a coin.
Do you have a coin?
I'll have a coin.
Yeah, we go New Zealand. Final answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's correct.
All right, New Zealand it is.
New Zealand. Final answer.
Final answer.
Easy.
Easy.
Just needed to flip a coin.
I thought it's about Hearthstone. Then it could be funny.
Welcome back, everyone, to Hearthstone Grandmasters. We're currently in the middle of the day, actually, smack dab, right there at halftime, as Zalae and Rami are currently in the middle of a series, series number 3. Then we have Briarthorn versus Nalgidan, and then wrapping up with ETC versus Empanizado. If you're just tuning in, Rami's able to get that first win with that Bomb Warrior. We kind of debated whether or not Bomb Warrior or Demon Hunter was worth the ban. Either way, it was going to be tricky for Zalae, starting off with Mage and running into some kind of pressure deck. Zalae's going to turn to his own Demon Hunter, though, game number 2.
That's right. Pretty standard Demon Hunter as well. A couple differences from the normal list. Altruist is in the deck, starting to rise in popularity. Card just kind of makes sense. We talked about it at length yesterday as well. How much it synergizes, as well as it consume magic, which is in a lot of matchups it feels just a way to cycle. But the silence can have some decent effects, especially if you're playing against a lineup with like Priest in it, sometimes Druid to be able to push through things, push through taunts. But when you think about like taunts being the like the biggest detriment to the deck, consume magic makes sense there. But Robin's gonna be playing Malagos Druid. He does have 2 Teacher's Pet, 2 Twilight Runner, no Lake Thresher, so expecting a little bit less aggro, and he's kind of rewarded for it since Zalae, I wouldn't say has aggro decks, just kind of has like these mid-rangey combo type decks. And I feel like Rami played the Malagos Druid really well earlier on this weekend. It's a deck that he struggled with in his first matchup in the round robin stage, but now I think it's a little bit better positioned, and he did look good on it last time we saw him.
I think so. And, you know, sometimes the Druid doesn't let you play very much, but it's still, you know, you still gotta try and make those win conditions happen, even if you don't get the ideal Malagos combos like we've seen several times. I do worry. Ultimately, I do feel like the Druid is very vulnerable to pressure strategies like the Demon Hunter, so I do anticipate Zalae to be the favorite. But I think with the Malagos Druids in particular, they end up getting very creative with how they find a way to win. I mean, we saw yesterday Rami attempt a Speaker Gidra victory, and sometimes that helps you get there. So anything could really happen here as we go into game number 2. Do you want to call out to see if there's any tech cards in particular that can really help Rami here? I don't really think so. Most Druids are so airtight with how they want to pack their deck list that their tech is pretty much if they want to put more beasts and full package on stuff. But with no Lake Threshers, it does seem Rami is a little bit more just emphasizing that combo damage at the top end.
Yeah, and in fact, you know, I think tech cards, at least for this matchup in particular, might be actually a little bit of a detriment. Since he lacks some healing that a lot of Malagos Druids have included with Crystal Power. So he has 1 Overflow, no Crystal Power, which means his ability to heal up is almost non-existent. So we'll see if that plays a part in matchups against Soul Demon Hunter. A lot of times it doesn't. You don't really need the extra healing. It's not usually that close. But we'll see, because that's a decision that he decided to make. Included like double Breath of Dreams, double Bog Beam, instead of going for like 1 Bog Beam, 1 Breath of Dreams, or like 2 Crystal Powers and a Wild Growth instead of those things. More removal heavy, more in on the Breath of Dreams than on Crystal Power potentially. So, oh wow, look at that tidbit.
Well, yeah, I mean, seems like the players are prepping and focused. Whether it's Zalae, looks like Zalae was pouring some tea, keep himself nice and calm. Always love checking out Zalae stream and seeing what kind of nice little fun stuff he's adding to the background. Seems like he's really been focused on things that help his mental going into a lot of games. He's talking about like kind of focus on things that are positive. He's been posting sunrises every morning, implying that he wakes up at normal human hours, which you think is not that big of an accomplishment, but if you don't, you haven't been hanging around esports for very long. Rami has Overgrowth in his opening hand here. I think Geppetto Joybuzz is always an interesting idea off of a keep, but in a matchup like this where it goes super quick, where Demon Hunter can ramp up damage, I think you want to go for more substance. What's with these Twilight Runner opening hands? It feels like Druid has them very often.
Well, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I don't like the Geppetto keep, is because, like, if you play Geppetto before you play Guardian Animal, oh my gosh, you play Geppetto before you play Guardian Animals, then you just pull your beasts. You want to play Geppetto like after you've played Guardian Animals. You want to look for the Guardian Animals instead, but now Rami only has a single beast left in his deck. He only has a Teacher's Pet left in his deck, so Guardian Animals isn't even that great of a draw at this point. And even if he draws one and plays it for one beast, he still doesn't have his second one. Won't even be worth anything. Won't even be active. We'll be able to get this Overgrowth out pretty early on with Innervate plus the coin. This will give him a 5 mana going in the next turn to be able to play one of these beasts, most likely the Twilight Runner.
Yeah, seems like Rami is very prepared for this turn 5, and I guess the good news is he could draw Geppetto right now, and he won't have to worry too much about what beast he's going to pick up. So,
You don't pick the
Wand Maker finds Twin
that's
Slice.
what you like to see.
Yeah, you kind of hope for it. You don't expect it, but it feels great when it lands.
I wonder if you want to spend mana on a Twin Slice here. You're not really close to killing, so I don't think it has that much merit. But, like, I feel like just applying the pressure and being mana efficient here is at least worth something. So, he does go ahead and cash in. Again, this deck lacks healing.
It's true. The deck is not very particularly good at that, and you know, Rami has to be careful with how much he takes here throughout this entire early game. So stabilizing on the board is pretty important, despite his desire to ramp like crazy here. I mean,
he's gonna ramp like crazy.
Breath of Dreams. Yeah, it's pretty hard to not play Breath of Dreams here. Okay, finds Bog Beam for 0, so we could play the Overgrowth and then Bog Beam down this 2/2. So everything worked out great. There you go, TJ.
There you go.
Going to school pays off.
Probably a Soul Shear and a clip of Warblades here. You want to deal with this Twilight Runner, especially with Rami having a lot of mana, but maybe not enough cards. If you leave the Twilight Runner up, that is what's going to stop that situation from being a reality. And does he start getting some weapon swings out?
You do have all these weapon swings, which is pretty challenging.
My dream is your nightmare.
You just need to be able to put out enough pressure. Rami's now kind of like up the stakes, right? It's like the longer this game goes, I'm going to have a higher chance of winning now, even more than before. Onus is very much on Zalae to be able to present ways to end the game before Rami hits full power.
Wow. Okay.
Rami's the
Zalae's shuffling
character
in max
yelling.
soul fragments.
That's right. Max sociologist pressure versus Rami. Rami's yelling really loudly for the entire episode. Powering up slowly. And Zalae has to be the one that stops him. He's going to swing at the Ysera. Okay.
Oh, whoa.
I was kind of anticipating him going face here, but I guess he wants to make Sociologist not have to, like, triple trade into Ysera.
Yeah, so him doing that, basically, he's saying the sociologist minions will connect base, and that'll make up for this damage that I'm losing. I think that's what it is. Because otherwise, I mean, I value that base damage a lot. But this will be a full Sociologist Militia. That's why Zalae went for the full Soul Fragment Shuffle the previous turn. Soul Share and a weapon attack. And he will be able to clear off everything here and stick some minions. No Leg Threshers. No removal outside of, like, Swipe Moonfire. No widespread removal unless he, like, picks up a Dream Portal here and it's Malagos or the Squall Hunter.
Ooh.
Alex Strauss is interesting after just seeing all Draki Warblades, but there are 6 Soul Fragments in the deck, and that's your whole turn. You're not removing anything. Whoa, Caligos!
His next spell is free. Almost all of them were free anyways. But it's nice to know that he gets another free one.
Overflow!
Overflow is now 0.
It would have been insane if his third dragon instead of Deathwing was Malagos. He would have just had lethal.
Yeah.
Or close to it. Oh no, it would have been lethal, yeah. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, Swipe and Moonfire with Malagos' 15s in combo with Alex.
I think
Recipe for success. 2 Bog Beams can follow up here. Rami in the driver's seat, the Crimson Hothead. Zalae's eyebrows rising millimeters with each second passing. Soul Fragment drawn off the top here. Zalae needs a lot more than that if he's going to try to deal with this board. That's right.
Very
this wasn't,
likely right?
This wasn't your 90s anime, TJ, where you had to wait for a long time for that payoff. It happened the next episode. Rami is here. He has arrived. This is 29 on the board. And Zalae has no Blade Dance.
Can Wandmaker pick up anything worthwhile? I don't think so. Zalae can go to 30, but if he can't remove anything, there's just 30 damage on board. I guess he could hit into something? No, he can't. He's dead. Yeah, wow.
Game 2 victory for Rami. As he is up 2-0 and looking like he is here to take care of business after with a little bit of a rough start the first 2 weeks of Swiss, taking an L on his first broadcasted match. You know, I watched some of his stuff. Seemed like he was really doubling down his preparation and practice. Does not want to let this opportunity slip. And I like it because I sense hunger from Rami, and I always want that to be rewarded, especially in a game like Hearthstone where it feels like sometimes you don't always get rewarded, right, for your preparation. So it makes it extra sweet when some players are able to do that. On the other hand, though, you know, Zalae, and I wish Zalae the best success, but right now it does not look like he is well positioned for this series with a 0-2 deficit at the moment. Has to beat Seeker Rogue 3 times, and he totally can with some of his decks, right? But Rogue does give classes like Druids a little bit of difficulty, and if Zalae chooses to switch to a different class entirely, he's going to have to hope that Seeker Rogue is not able to put out the aggression, because I personally also like Rogue against Mage a lot of the time because of how much pressure he put out. So it's like Zalae's going to stand as Demon Hunter here.
Yeah, I think the Demon Hunter is the best matchup against the Rogue. Rogue, again, not a real great way to just straight up defend themselves. So, if you're playing a deck that has the linear win condition of hit your opponent in the face for a lot of damage, and the deck that you're facing takes a good amount of time to set up, and during that time they're not defending themselves, that's a recipe for a good matchup. Opening hand for Rami, Prep Seeker Passage and Jandis Barav. Not the best, but it has potential if this game starts going a little later.
Okay. I think I'm on board with that, but Certainly putting a little bit more time into it. Looks
Wait.
like Zalae.
Oh, I thought he
Ends up
forecapped
keeping
for a
just a
second, and I was
Panther.
about to say. Like, because it had that delay. I was like, well, that's a bold keep.
Right. Had that delay, if you will.
Yep.
Now he starts off with the dirty secrets. Just has to ramp up. Maybe that card draw can help him out. Chaos Strike.
Yeah. It's actually a really good pickup, I think, because otherwise his hand would be pretty dead, and this Demon Hunter can't really go long without spells. Picks up Shadow Jeweler and Questing Adventurer.
It's nuts.
And Edward Van Cleave.
That is nuts.
So how do you sequence this for best results?
I like going now. So I probably actually this is really interesting because Questing Adventure is the one that has the most potential, right? You could go for a 6/6 Edwin Van Cleef right now, but then Questing Adventure becomes harder to get rolling. But if you do play Questing Adventure, you set up as a 4/4, it's the most vulnerable because your opponent can just coin out a weapon and smack it, then you're kind of stranded without secret for Jalajun and Harnar and no preparation for Edwin Van Cleef. So maybe it is secret option number 3, TJ. You play Questing Adventure and pass. Oh, he's going for it.
All right. Well, like you said, most potential, but the easiest to kind of exploit here. Also, with prep and secret used, it means that Shadow Jeweler Hanar is now stranded slightly. But still has secrets left in the deck, so it's not like it's the end of the world. And, you know, he will, with Blade Drives, he will get these Twin Slices. So maybe some burst potential there, though it's really hard as the rogue to burst out a Demon Hunter just because how much healing they can have. Also, Spirit Jailer thrown in there. And there you go. Not only does he get Twin Slice, but he also gets Second Slice, so it's effectively handing him over 6 damage.
Well, I mean, this is definitely the thing to go for here. Like, Edwin Van Cleef has kind of waited, and your opponent has shown that they're trying to respond very desperately. Zalae, shake of the head.
The Brotherhood shall prevail.
Not happy to see this 8/8 come out.
Oh, that's a ding.
Ding.
It's not as satisfying when you don't actually hear the ding.
Oh, it's satisfying, all right, TJ. I have a powerful imagination, vivid, if you will.
Well, a little bit of ways to go here for Zalae. He's not really putting on much pressure, but he did find out Draki Warblades. He does have double skull in hand. It's not outcast yet, and he's got to spend a Blade Dance to do it, so he's just looking for an excuse to use it, and maybe this is that excuse.
Whew. Well, I mean, I'm trying to figure out a play outside of just the Blade Dance here. I don't really feel like there's much though because of the way like we were talking about how he set up with Skull Gul'dan.
Yeah.
It's got to be right. Altruist is also there. Got Wand Maker, a lot of cheap stuff, and the second skull is also in position. It's like the game is saying like, hey, we gave you that top deck silence. We have the ability to make this Altruist really sing.
Yeah, so you Blade Dance first, because you're guaranteed to hit one of the illusion minions, and that lets you see which one is actually illusioned, and now he can just trade over the Headmaster Kel'Thuzad. Yep. And he's got a Outcast Skull next turn.
Okay, so if from Rami... okay. So from Rami's perspective, I was thinking about playing the Shadow Jewel Hanar first on the board, and then playing Secret Passage.
I was thinking the same thing. He wants like a higher upside, I guess, but not sure like how higher upside you can get than a Secret Chain that you're also getting the secret back in your hand once the Secret Passage is done. But does find a decent amount of value here. Gets questing online. Cartoon Defender, that's decent as well. So gets another one Portal Cartoon Defender, so finds a secret for the Shadow Jewel Hanar. Like, that's a good hand. That's a very good hand from Rami.
It looks very solid, and I mean, right now it's difficult for Zalae to even answer this entire board right now. Unless he wants to use Blade Dance.
Demons. Demons.
And this does not seem worthy of a Blade Dance. So this is definitely a little bit of an awkward situation here for Zalae. I
think you Skull, right? I don't know.
I still think you go for it, right?
There's a chance you don't kill questing, but like, if you don't go for Skull this turn, it's so expensive to have to go for a Skull on any other turn.
Oh.
All right.
Okay. Yeah,
so he's gonna
this
coin
guarantees
and then
it, right?
attack the questing and then re-equip all Draki Warblades.
You don't take the wand.
No, he just goes to the
so
Wand Maker here.
Okay.
Okay. Oh wait, there's no demon in the hand. I don't know why it glowed. It tricked me. It was because it was an outcast position.
I never lie.
All right, here we go. Finally, the Hanar. Love pack tactics.
Pack tactics.
Also a big fan of Plagiarize in this matchup. But I guess Redemption makes sense given that he wants to just keep Hanar up. Wow.
Oh, man.
Snipe, surprisingly, tends to answer almost everything that Demon Hunter can play. But I guess Ambush does the same thing?
Maybe not a Soul Shard Lapidary, and you've already seen Altruist.
Pack tactics. Pack tactics. It's pretty hard to deal with two Hanars now, but he does have the Shard Shatter Mystic, and then he can hero power it down, then equip the weapon. Then he has Skull Gul'dan. Then he has the ability to start gathering this, but he has to also deal with the secrets. It's just so annoying to have to defuse.
This power.
Yep. Can deal with them, though. Just a hero power. You can hero power and then equip all Draki Warblades. Full manualization. Right. Has Skull to back it up. So diffused the board quite well and has the card draw to back it up and still has all of his like big stuff left in the deck. So I'm not too worried here for Zalae. It's just, does he have time to do all those things? Because Rami has shown that, you know, this deck can pack a lot of value. Most likely Cartoon Defender and just a Dirty Tricks here.
Well, Soulshare test for the counter spell, right? Because that's what he's still afraid of at the moment.
Yep.
So sees it, active, shuffles. Of course, the issue with that is Skull Gul'dan now draws potential soul fragments. Speaking of, Rami getting some soul fragments in.
Yep.
That's not good for Zalae.
Okay. Ooh, another one. Oh, jeez.
Poor warlock.
I mean, it's not that cool to play. It's not that good to play Skull Gul'dan without outcasting.
Yeah.
And when you draw 2 soul fragments out of 3 cards that you're supposed to pick up, feels like
Yeah.
you just played it without outcasting it.
Especially with there were only 3 soul fragments in the deck. There's only 1 left.
Patient.
Right.
Like, after that outcome, I don't even want to attack here because the Eldrazi Warblade has so much more potential. Yeah, and Zalae doesn't attack.
I guess the nice thing though is that for Rami, he still has lots of like ammo, right? These plagiarize and ambush, secret passage, like all these different things that he could be doing. Ends up going for the secret passage after establishing the plagiarize. Ooh, can play soul fragment from the hand.
Oh, up to no good. Me too.
Feels like Zalae's just been a little bit too slow to get the ball rolling, and not to really any fault of his own, I suppose. It's just that's what Rogue does. Is like each turn they're like, here's this must kill thing.
Right, and there's just like a steady stream of pressure, right? First it was the questing, then it was the Edwin, then it was the Hanar, and now it's just like the assortment of minions that are left over from all that generation. It feels very similar to how Demon Hunter tries to handle the mage. Yet Rogue has a lot more lethality because of the burst that's in their deck naturally. Plus the idea that, you know, Rogue is constantly pressuring with a bunch of these big tempo minions and have even disruption tools like called Neophyte to make things more complicated. Finally, Blade Dance helps stabilize here, and Zalae can now counter pressure with this Glaive Bound Adept. Seems like there's a clear landing spot here for Zalae.
Yeah, and even though Rami's at 30 life, Zalae does have some damage packed into his deck. It's just that's all it is. It's linear damage. Like he has 2 Marrow Slicers, 2 Soul Shard Lapidaries, a Glaive Bound Adept, and a Kane Sun Fury. Yeah, and so like he doesn't have much any removal left in his deck because he's used both Blade Dance and Soul Shard Shatter Mystics. So he just doesn't have much left outside of just straight up raw damage. And I don't know if that's going to be enough to win in the game. Because Rami is just going to consistently push damage, and he's got a Twin Slice in his hand for some additional burst. All right, well, I feel like Zalae needs to go for a big burst of healing here.
I'm inclined to agree. I think Zalae needs to just try to capitalize on this last charge here of the Eldrazi Warblade. I guess the issue is that he's already used his Blade Dances, right? So can't clear this off conveniently. No Soul Fragments or Sociologist Militia. So what else can he really do?
Yeah, I think you need to Skull and probably Twin Slice. Cash in on the healing from Eldrazi Warblades. Pretty likely at this point to start picking up Marrow Slicers, so you still have ammo for Sociologist Militia to maybe clear things next turn. Like I really think if Zalae just plays Sociologist here, it feels too slow.
Yeah, I agree. I think Sociologist is... Well, you know what? It's okay still because it's still putting pressure onto the board. But kind of like what you're describing, like... well, I guess from Zalae's perspective, he doesn't feel like he can actually win unless he has board presence here. And Skull Gul'dan is like much better when you have minions on the board, so you can leverage all that damage. But
Yeah,
Rami,
but
he knows Rami
his
has
deck
Blade
is just
Dance.
all damage.
Right. And Zalae knows that Rami has Blade Dance.
Yeah.
And even Twin Slices.
Yeah, I think at this point, like he just needed to turn the corner. I don't know. It just feels like it's been a little too slow up until this point.
Can't really disagree here.
Maybe that's not being fair, but that just seems like missed opportunity.
Choose soon.
Rami's out of proactive stuff though, but Zalae's out of healing, outside of soul fragments.
Right. So I think I like the ambush.
Saving it for Blackjack
okay.
Stunner. It's his last
Yeah,
secret.
Blackjack Stunner. Okay, that's fair.
All right,
I was
so
just thinking the ambush for the tempo, you know?
Yeah. So Zalae's deck is just pretty much straight up damage. 2 Soul Shard Lapidaries, Gleatbound Adept, Kane Sun Fury, 2 Marrow Slicers. So he's got a lot of damage loaded up over the next few turns.
Yeah, my big criticism with holding on to Blackjack Stunner is what do you want to Blackjack Stunner? Your opponent's Lapidary? Your opponent's Adept?
Maybe his own flick?
Oh, okay. All right. I'm down. All right, if he does that, I think that's clever.
Well, you're
But,
right.
like-
All the other stuff, no, because it just turns into damage again.
It's like there's nothing I actually really want to Blackjack Stunner to return it to my opponent's hand. That just sounds like disaster.
Yeah, like honestly, I wouldn't even be upset with like a Blackjack Stunner, Ambush and Blackjack Stunner just played last turn onto the board. But Zalae's damage is starting to get moving. He's got Twin Slice, Chaos Strike, Soul Shard Lapidary. His game plan's paying off. You know, maybe I'll eat my words if he ends up winning this game. How much damage does he have loaded up next turn? Soul Shard Lapidary, that's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 damage next turn? He's close just next turn, right?
Right. Gonna rush. He is gonna Blackjack Stunner his own.
Yeah, but that was the plan.
But right, that is the plan. But like, is there a better plan in terms of threatening your opponent by playing tempo, like when they're down to 12? I guess maybe with Soul Fragments being so densely packed into the bottom of the deck, it's less likely. So then, if I'm Zalae, oh, he's gonna mana feeder. If he drew his Soul Fragments,
Right into my trap.
there's a chance that Lapidary would have actually not been active anymore.
Yeah, he does have a Marrow Slicer and a Spear Jailer. Maybe because he knows that the Flick is back in hand, he doesn't want to play Soul Shard Lapidary. He wants to like try and go for double Soul Fragments in the deck, and then play Soul Shard Lapidary twice in the same turn for 10 damage burst. That's what seems like would be his game plan if this is what he's doing this turn. I don't think he necessarily has to be worried about dying because Rami doesn't have too much burst damage. He's got some Soul Fragments going. He's got to count damage here. Yeah, I'm just unleashing a Twin Slice. 4-5 on board. I mean, Rami has some lethal outs with Wand Thief. Wait a second. 5, 6. That's game.
2,
I said
3,
there's no burn
4,
left.
5, 18.
That's lethal on board.
Or sorry, 13, 14. Yeah. So
Wait, no, not quite. It's one off. Right? He can find it. He can still find it with Wand Thief. Any damage, any direct damage. Evocation. Any direct damage.
Evocation.
Double arcane missiles.
missiles.
So you
wait, no, you can Brain Freeze first. Isn't Brain Freeze first guaranteed? Because then the missiles, if it hits all the minions, like then you have the damage.
Ooh.
Wait.
Choose soon.
If he played double missiles, that's 6 damage with 3 on the board. So
It was
3 goes
guaranteed.
face, then
It was guaranteed. If he goes you brain freeze onto the what just happened? So you brain freeze onto the Cane, then you trade the poisonous over the Mana Feeder Panthera. Double arcane missiles deal 6, and eviscerate is 10. Dagger hit 11. The 2 damage on board is 13. He was at 13 at that given moment, right? That was guaranteed.
It looked like it to me. I'm just gonna go ahead and assume Rami did the math. Maybe I can look at the replay real quick and tell you. But for now, let's focus a little bit here on Zalae. What can he do? He's staring at 5 damage on the board, and he's just gonna have to go for this damage. And I think Consume Magic at the end, so he can. Wait, does he have a Soul Fragment left in his deck? He just burned.
He has 2 Soul Fragments left in his deck.
Okay, so he needs to draw Soul Fragment. He doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't think it would have mattered because he had the Eviscerate anyways, but Rami is able to complete the 3-0 and send Zalae to his second victory while improving to 2-1. And that's going to be another sweep for today. We've been seeing lots of 3-0s lately in Grandmasters, and Rami can join the club as he's gotten his first sweep here in GM on broadcast. Well done. I think maybe at the very end there could have been something. Again, I'll look at the replay maybe during a break or something. But either way, his macro understanding of what he needed to do in the position was solid enough to get him to that point where he didn't really need to find exact lethal of any kind or any kind of damage to end the game. And ultimately, it's kind of what we're talking about, right? Like these lineups are super powerful. So maybe what ends up becoming the case is if Zalae has decks that are better against some of these lineups like Secret Rogue and Malagos Druid that can help him a little bit more than perhaps if whether or not you can spot these technical plays to help get that lethal 1 turn earlier. Either way, though, you can't. If that is end up being the case, CJ,